Jermaine and Will coming back to you. Today we're talking about my installment of Mutants and Masterminds, issue number 5 of the game that we played last night. And you saw the players right after the first battle scene. Now, we had left them last time in a southern, a pasture just south of Chicago, Illinois, in Midlothian, about a 45 minute drive south. And there's this pasture that's like miles long that has been converted from something very quickly, and there's a makeshift desire of it. There's steel fence with really high with barbed wire, and it's electrocuted, but they've already destroyed one of the generators. They've toppled over one of the large steel like silos with a futuristic sort of gun on it. And I definitely get the impression everything's quick, and it's just a pin of humanity. People are stuffed in there like cows at a slaughterhouse, and there's buckets of like corn and low-grade food in there for them to eat. Buckets people are shitting in. The shit's all over the ground and piss, and up there with the smell of shit and piss and the smell of dead bodies and unwashed bodies for weeks. These people have been in here, and I talk about, you know, children and women and old people, and all this people are just looking on in horror with hopelessness, and that's the predominant attribute, is this utter hopelessness, this despair. And some of the people start escaping, but as in the calamity, people are pushing and they're getting knocked off this cylindrical silo as people are falling right into the barbed wire, and like basically, you know, they're all crushed up in the barbed wire, being ripped apart by it. Then at the end, it's Magneto, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, Kitty Pryde, and an NPC who was created for the game, Rachel Starr, who was the beginning love interest of one of the main characters in the game, Joe Hoff's character. If you see the video, he is character is called Flux, but now it has an additional name besides that. And we so I started talking about all this steel, all this metal is everywhere, and of course it's already been described long before my news got there. And then they're like, everything around them is metal. All these metal weapons he can use against them as his desire dictates, and there's just this rattling, this shaking of the steel, of the fence that's been torn down, of the silo, of the guy who's become Captain America, Frank's character. His shield is shaking, and I start describing, that feeling like, you've just we used to play on a baseball team together, and like you just hit a ball with aluminum baseball bat, but you got a really bad, you hit it really in a bad position, like too far down the bat, and it kind of like shook your hands. I said, no, take that and amplify that like about 1,000,000 times as you're. And I'm talking about how, because his character's real big, I'm talking about how his muscles just literally bulging and the veins coming out of it, and that sort of thing. As he's trying to fight to hold on to that, as the 5 of them approach. Now, I think it's Rachel Starr's a pyrokinetic, it's her abilities, and it's the first time that Joe's seen her since his prelude in issue number 0. So this was the 6th game session, and it's all these feelings, all these emotions, and he's role-playing all this stuff. I'm describing how she's looking at him with shame in her eyes, with sadness, with longing, with all these conflicted emotions, but at the same time, it's pretty clear she's against him. Now, he uses he begins to come up against Magneto, and just start describing it like, say, it's something like this. This sort of represent, that's what I pulled up. So you have something like this, and that's going to represent each cell in your body, and you feel something like coming and grabbing a hold of those cells and just pushing them, crushing them, trying to pull them all apart. And I'm sort of really describing the magnetism as the field is affecting his body, pulling his blood, pulling by that extension more of him out, the iron in his blood and so forth, and giving him these really permanent feelings that he's going to die. It's like, okay, so I'm going to use a hero point and try to use my telekinesis to fight off of it, to shield myself. So we start going through that, and I sort of describe it as, it's pushing you, and then you start pushing against it, and he's role-playing, and I'm role-playing, all these facials, and really describing back and forth, this battle of wills and what will endure. And finally he forces Magneto off of him, and they're both kind of reeling and going back, and that's when the large horrible sounds, like I start making these like, and I've been slowly kind of making them in the background there, metal sounds, and you see the gates ripping from the ground up, and there's a vicious barbed wire and razor wire all around the top of it. The silo starts really rattling. It's like a 7-ton silo rattling, and there's 2 different long sections of gates. Long sections of gates. I mean, there's miles of steel here, and they start raising up on the ground. And there's still people like in the commotion. And these people haven't been freed, so it's happening. So people are still like against it, like all caught up in the barbed wire like this. And I talk about how the wounds cut into their arms and their scrawniness. Yet at the same time, you can still see that fat, that yellow sort of disgusting driplets of fat, and how those pieces are coming out of their arms as they're being cut and torn. And I kind of push them back, almost looking to be almost for a moment in crucifix sort of positions. And I talk about how the razor wire and the barbed wire slices in their body, and just begins to just pull the skin from the flesh, and there's bone there, and the screams of horror of people as these metal gates begin to come towards Flux, Joe's character. And then Roman intervenes. He lightning bolts Magneto, discharge right up off the ground. Magneto like falls from the air, and this causes his other 4 people to hit the ground. Quicksilver runs. Scarlet Witch hits the ground like flawless, to that probability of 1 in a billion chance that you could drop 60 feet and not completely destroy your legs. And Joe's uses his ability to grab Rachel. She's fallen towards the ground. He grabs her with his telekinesis and yanks her over to him. Kitty Pryde hits the ground just to shadow form. So they miss her for a little while, and she comes back a bit later. But I ran the entire combat all cinematic style, all them just describing, okay, give me the input, you describe what you want to do, and I'm going to give you the outcome. I know what their characters can do with their stats, the strengths and weaknesses that they have, and conversely, the strengths and weaknesses of these NPCs. Now, it's not just, okay, I've determined things are going to go this way, so it's bland and blasé. No, it's highly determined on what you want to do, and basically just in my mind I'm hitting all the rolls basically in my mind as the random generator of what's happening based on how you're describing things instead of just based on die roll. And when you get away from that area of rolling the dice, at least for me, I have a completely unbiased sort of mind where I'm just running with it. Okay, I see the scene unfolding like this, as if we were sitting around pitching ideas. It's like I pitch an idea to you, you pitch an idea to me, I pitch an idea to you, you pitch an idea to me, but we're doing it very much in the structured confines of the game. And of course, you know, I'm the head writer, so I'm getting the editorial approval of what you're doing. You're like, oh, bam, 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 I'm coming this far. Okay, I got to cut you off here, and I'm coming around, and I'm doing this, and I'm giving the really vivid descriptions on precisely what happened. And the players, of course, afterwards say, oh, they really love the cinematic, as I've used that, particularly when I was playing for a long time. I've used that for years and years in every kind of system there is. And I think for comic books, it really lends itself well to that. I think it's something that I would definitely recommend people try, but really divorce yourself from any sort of bias against the NPCs or towards the NPCs or against or towards the players, and let them have input, have narrative descriptions, and just bring it and see how it all kind of comes together. It's definitely something you need to try a few times, probably before you get a good handle on it. But once you do, it's an extremely rewarding style because it's so much more immersive than dice rolling, which continuously get you into the concept of you're playing a game. It's like, you know, you're actually really going to get there and shine, get your shine on, and be heroic and really interesting in a game. So we're doing that. And I'm only going to give very brief bits of description because I could, by describing the comic, way over 15-minute timeline. There's a few other things I want to hit on. Now, Joe basically gets wrapped up. I talk about the gate just wraps him up, and then I talk about it just like pulls tight, like so he's like completely crushed. And I start describing about how it's breaking his shoulders, breaking his arms. I talk about all your ribs shatter. You can feel your spine breaking dozens of different places, and your hips crush inward, being bent into completely unnatural ways. Your legs shatter. You can feel, and then you hear he hears this like sort of metallic slithering sound, and he kind of like looks down, like getting his notice ranks, and he's like looking down, and he sees sheams like from different directions. This barbed wire and razor wire are just sliding like they're fucking snakes. They're sliding through the metal of the gate, and they slide around him like all over. I mean, there's way more than could even be complete. There's more barbed wire there than he could even be encased in. So and it's huge. I describe them like they're about this long, about the size of my finger. And they're busting into you. I said, man, they're going into your eyes. You can feel internal organs rupture, going into your face and your ears, and you know, just really completely desecrating him. Roman keeps blasting Magneto with electricity. Magneto eventually picks the silo up at 7 tons and crushes him into the ground, burying him into the earth, the soft earth of the ground. And his character out of the combat after that. Frank's character, Captain America, threw the shield, busts Magneto in the head with it. Magneto falls, towards the ground. His helmet actually comes off. He eventually reaches down and gets his helmet and puts it back on. I describe his helmet's kind of dented from the adamantite shield. Quicksilver runs over, and I describe how he fights. Because when someone's hitting you that fast, this is no difference in what's coming from a bullet. And I'm like, it doesn't. So don't describe. I have Frank. I'm sitting there, boom, 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 boom. Really punching him. I've got him up, and I'm describing him coming there, and I'm kicking him and punching him in the kidneys and the face and the neck. And I said, okay, now describing it to him like you've been punched, kicked, clawed, hit about 70, 75 times, and every one of them is basically like just getting shot with a bullet. They're coming at you that fast and that hard. And so describing all the different damage he does, and he keeps trying to hit Quicksilver. Quicksilver just keeps moving away. He keeps missing him, but finally, boom! The shield right against Quicksilver Nugget. Quicksilver stunned. He grabs it, hoists him up. Boom! Choke slam straight into the earth, and Quicksilver is done for a good piece of time. We have Ape Pex, many of your favorites. The ape with a man-like intelligence, and he has Dr. Octavius' arms, and he's coming there, and he has this green goblin, a goblin with a green serum that he has acquired and devised. And he goes over there and has this injector, and he's like trying to leap up to where Joe is about 60 feet up in the air, but Joe's magnetized, so he's leaping up, and then I describe how he just gets sucked right into it, and what he's doing, I'm saying, well, it works actually way better, but you're still caught up in there. He drives in there, driving the goblinoid green serum into Joe's broken carcass, and so it's like, and I describe, I do a lot of description, trying to make my game look how it should be presented in the media, and the media's comic books. So I'll do the boxes. I'll talk about full page splashes. This box, this box, this box, this box. So in this situation, I'm describing. I get right up on Joe's face, in front of everyone. Like if Joe was right. I try to use my face for what I'm doing, which is not gonna come across perfectly. I could so here's a box frame, right? That's like a little panel. And I put it right over there, put it under Joe's eyes. Okay, so it's so this is what you see his eye, and then you see less of it, but it's still the same size frame because the face is growing. You see the red blood veins going through it. You see the eye begin to turn yellow, and it's then he bursts through the gate. 12 foot tall, injected with this goblin formula, and the goblin gets in when the insanity begins to come away, when that hopelessness is there, and that's really what caused the melding process. Joe bursts through the gate, hits the ground, causing the girl he was raising, Rachel, she falls 60 feet. Hits the ground. He comes over. Magneto's on the ground. He's crushing down Roman's character into the ground with his 7-ton silo. As he turns around, there's all of a sudden 12 foot of the Green Demon just pounding viciously away. And Joe's doing his role play, that's comic book character I wanted to do. And he's talking about Lucifer, and Lucifer, of course, character in the game. And he's talking about her and how,